Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me today for a review of offline mode or offline circulation in Evergreen, Indiana. This is in preparation for the downtime that we will have this weekend as we upgrade from Evergreen, Indiana version 3.11.2 to 3.13 point possibly 4 or 5. Um, my name is Britta Dorsey. I am the Development Support Administrator for the consortium. I did not put my contact information in this webinar. Um, we will make sure to include our email addresses in the chat, but let's go ahead and get started. So when Evergreen is down, meaning we try to access the web client and it gives us like a server error, or like to try and access the classic catalog and it also gives us a server error. We have the ability to use a function called offline circulation or offline mode to track our checkouts. Since we are going to be offline this weekend, libraries have the option to use this. Some will do so. Um, Smaller libraries probably will choose to go old school and write things down, whatever works for your library. So today we are reviewing how to prepare for and use offline mode. Then we're going to look at what to do with the data when we're back online, and also a few extra notes that came about in an Evergreen community admin group that I was just in before this that I wanted to share. That's important to know when we are back online on Monday. So again, preparing for offline mode, using offline mode, and then uploading our offline transactions plus miscellaneous. Um, we are always asked what can we access and what is not accessible during an upgrade. Um, Usually with like Hoopla, you should be able to contact your rep to disable the card verification, which is what connects Hoopla to Evergreen, Indiana. And you should be able to do that for X amount of days. Overdrive, we've kind of gone back and forth. I'm pretty sure in the past, um, we've said that it's been down, but we've also said contact your rep to confirm. So I'm going to leave it in your hands to contact Overdrive to see if you can access, but I'm going to err on the side of caution and say it's not accessible. Other databases that are not connected to Evergreen, whether like to confirm card number or account type. So, like I think Chilton and Gale courses and oh, what is our other one? Um, uh, there are certain databases that we have that just look for the card number, like a prefix, and they use that to allow access. If they are not directly connected to Evergreen, then you should still be able to access those. Porter County notes that they were able to get a bypass for Overdrive, but they did have to reach out to their representative. So if you want to get access to Overdrive for your patrons during the upgrade this weekend, you'll want to contact your rep.
I
Yes,
have a little
thank you.
bit more information about that too. I've been talking with Overdrive, hoping everyone can get access over the weekend, but there's only a small amount of libraries that can. Porter is one of them. But if you're interested, you can just contact your rep and they'll let you know if you'll be able to provide Overdrive or not.
Thank you, Courtney. I appreciate it. Um, so, okay, so classic catalog, no, it will not be accessible. Aspen, likely not. You might be able to load the page, but you won't be able to do anything. You won't be able to check out anything or search the catalog because everything will be down. And then, of course, the web client you will not be able to access. Permissions, there are some permissions that are used in offline mode. Um, it's the ability to like view the offline. sessions, upload those transactions, and execute. So all staff will be able to check out and upload offline transactions. Where we limit permissions is when we are processing those offline transactions. So only local admins and Circ1s will be able to process the uploaded offline transactions. And I know the term processing and uploading, they are used separately. So local admin Circ1s will be able to process uploaded offline transactions, and I'll explain that later. There are some known bugs for offline mode that I wanted to bring to your attention to make sure that you are aware. So the first one says that if we log out of the web client while the transactions are being processed, the process will fail and will cause the remaining transactions to error out. So when you are once we are back online and our local admin or Circ1 are processing those transactions, don't log out of the web client. You need to remain in that session until all of the transactions have been processed. Otherwise, any remaining transaction will cause that no session exception, and they will probably not be able to upload. The second one, this is if you circulate material that has hourly durations, offline mode won't recognize it because you can only select full day options when you are choosing the checkout duration. The third one, because the receipt templates and basically like the printer settings and stuff, that we customize are saved on the server and we do not have access to the server, any customization to those templates will be ignored. So don't worry about customizing them. Just we I'm not sure if it really matters, but we'll go ahead and go through it of setting our print context because we confirmed yesterday that when we print a receipt, it'll bring up the browser dialog box. So it kind of basically bypasses all of our printer stuff. And then the fourth one, so basically it means that you will need to manually refresh the screen after clicking process. This is for local admins and Circ1s. And again, we will go show you what that means. All right. So I'm going to click on this. This is the link to that documentation. I'm actually going to, we'll kind of split between, but I'm going to also bring up the web client already. So first things first, we've already kind of talked about the introduction for offline. So first we want to talk about preparing for offline circulation. Actually, let's go back to the important because it's important. We recommend that staff members only use the checkout and in-house use functions of offline mode. There are other options like register patron, checking in material, and renewing. Those cannot check the live database because it's offline and can result in errors and issues with holds. So we just recommend using the checkout and in-house use features. So just keep a cart available at your at the areas you're going to be using offline mode, and shelve those items that come back in until we're back up to check those in. All right, so there are some things that we need to do in preparation for using offline circulation, and I actually recommend starting them now. And these steps should be done for each Windows login. And I'm going to say Chrome profile, just in case, because as people who have been around for a while in Evergreen, Indiana know that offline mode is not always perfect, or it's never perfect. But so first thing we want to do is choose your workstations. So depending on the number of workstations normally used for circulation, you may wish to try to limit the number of workstations being used, as they will all be required to upload their transactions to the session. So if you are able to think about like where you want these circs to happen. It's not required, it's just a recommendation, especially if you have a lot of circulation workstations. It might be beneficial to you to limit the number of transactions that you have to upload on Monday. The next thing we need to do is bookmark offline, the offline circulation module. Because we cannot access the module when the server is down, you should bookmark it in the browser so that the direct link is saved and it is accessible. So to do that, we are going to get into the web client. We are logged in. Let me make this a little bigger. And we are going to go to the circulation top nav menu and down here to offline circulation. Now, this next thing is kind of in combination of number 3, where we cache offline function pages. Because offline mode, what's the term? It depends on the web browser's cache to function. It is recommended and it's highly recommended to visit each of these tabs periodically, maybe once a day and maybe a couple times a day, to make sure that the offline mode will have the current and a good history and cache of those pages. So when we are in offline mode, when we first access it and we've still been logged in, we will see the session management tab. This tab is only going to appear if we are logged in. As soon as we try to click one of these other tabs, it's going to give us a warning that we are about to enter offline mode. And then if we click proceed, we are going to be logged out. So I'm going to go ahead and click proceed. And so see how that session management tab disappeared. And now I'm going to go ahead and click on each of these tabs, even if we're not going to use some of these. I'm going to go ahead and just click on all of them. And then now I'm going to bookmark it. So in Chrome, if you use your bookmark bar, you can click this little icon and just drag it into your bar. I'm going to go ahead and just rename it. I can right click and go to edit and just change it to offline mode. You can name it whatever you want. So when we are finally offline or come Saturday morning, when you open, we can just click on this link to access offline mode. Now, it's previously, when the server was down, it should automatically take us to offline mode. However, when I've been testing this the past week and a half or so, it hasn't done that. So I recommend just going straight to your bookmarked link to access offline mode and to load that. All right. Next step is I recommend to check your browser's cache settings. Just you want to make sure that your browser is not set to clear its cache automatically. I linked a guide from Google on how to check your settings. And if I remember how to do it on my own, we'll go to the menu and settings. And then we're going to privacy and security. Site settings. Here, it's the last option. We're going to scroll down here to additional content settings and then on-device site data. We want to make sure that this option, this delete data sites have saved to your device when you close all windows, is not selected. So so we just want to make sure that when we close the browser that it does not delete the cache, because again, offline mode depends on that cache for those transactions. So we just want to make sure that, at least if anything for this weekend, to allow sites to save data on the device. Next is when we want to actually go into the web client and set up our receipt templates, print context, and things like that. Again, we do use the browser's print dialog for this, but I don't see an issue with doing this in case this actually will help. Okay, so we're going to go log back in. And administration workstation. The first thing we want to make sure we do is probably printer settings, where we make sure our offline is set to the correct printer, which would probably be our receipt printer. These settings will not follow the offline mode, so it is very possible that you will get a very long blank tail when you try to print. Let me see if let's print with dialogue. Nope, that is not the dialogue I wanted. Well, we'll see what happens when we actually go through checking out material. So we've set our offline mode, and then let's make sure our templates are pointing at the correct printer context. In the template name, the offline mode ones are at the bottom. Since we are only using the checkout or in-house, we can just focus on those. So select the offline checkout, make sure our print context is pointed in the right direction, and then save locally. You want to make sure you save locally before you switch to a new template. So go back to in-house use, make sure it's set to that, and save locally if you make any changes. Okay, we already set our print context for the offline print templates. So now we are ready to use offline circulation. It's been a few days, let's say it's Saturday morning. We've been going through and caching those tabs in offline mode using that link we bookmarked. So now it's time to actually use it. So we are starting the day on Monday. If we try to access the web client, it's probably going to give us an error. So we'll click on our offline mode link. And now we are here. So notice how when we first click on it, there isn't that session management tab because we are not logged in. So now we are ready for to check out in offline mode. And give me just a second while I plug in my barcode scanner. To check out material in offline mode, first thing we want to do is set the due date. We can set it manually here using this calendar. The easiest thing to do will be to use this offset. There are several available to us. We can select today plus 3 days, 7, 14, and 21 days. So if you are circulating a book, you would probably use 21 days because that is 3 weeks. So, and I also recommend if you are checking out a group of things, or like a bunch of different formats, I recommend sorting them. So you are checking out all of your DVDs one after the other. So you have like today plus 7 days, and then you check out your books because then you are changing your due date to 21 days. It's just probably a little easier that way instead of having to change the due date multiple times. So we have set our due date. Now it's time to enter the patron barcode. You can scan or enter manually. It's very important to watch to make sure you are entering this or it scans correctly. Because if we try to check things out and the patron barcode is not correct or it's not complete, it's going to give us errors and those items are not going to be checked out to that patron account. So just be very aware of watching the screen when using offline mode. So just double checking the barcode, and now we can scan the items. If you scan, it will automatically enter, and the data will appear on the right side. Since we are off server, we can only see the patron barcode, item barcode, and due date. Again, we won't be able to see anything else about the patron, so definitely make sure that things scan correctly. If you notice that the item barcode scans incorrectly, go ahead and scan it again or enter it. Just know that that misscanned item barcode will probably come up after, like as an exception. So I'm going to, let's say, scan something else. And then let's do one more because I have several books next to me. Okay, so our patron is done. We have finished scanning their items, and we are ready to save transactions. When we click Save Transactions, actually, I'm going to check mark this print receipt button. When we click Save Transactions, can you guys see the print dialog box? Or is it
Yes, we
miss?
can see it.
Okay, great. Um, so you can see that it's looking like our receipt template. And if we switch it to our barcode, notice how we have, this is a very long blank tail. To fix this, you'll probably have to go into your actual printer settings in your computer because again, that hardware minimum or those printer settings with an Evergreen do not translate to offline mode. Or you can print on a regular printer, whatever is easier for your library to do. Go ahead and click cancel because I don't want to print. So if you don't have the print receipt check marked, it's going to save the transactions and then just clear the screen for the next circulation. Let's do one more. And then let's do 714. And then actually I want to, all right, so we have scanned these two items for the patron. I'm going to save transaction and it empties out. So let's say it's the end of Saturday. We are all thankful it's over so we can stop using offline mode. Unless you're open on Sunday, then I wish you all the best to use it again. But at the end of the day, it is highly recommended based on the information that I have received this afternoon from other libraries upgrades to export transactions. This is just a backup file of all the transactions that you have saved throughout the day on this workstation. You will want to export transactions on each workstation, so you have a file for all of those transactions. So we have exported that transaction, and I'll do it again just real quick. It'll download based on your browser settings, and it will go into probably your downloads folder. So, okay, so we are done. We are done Saturday. We're done Sunday, and we get the email. We read our email Monday morning, say, "Oh, great, the web client is back up." So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this, and we are ready to re-access the web client. We should see on the workstations that we perform transactions on, we should see this unprocessed offline transactions waiting for upload. And it's going to tell us when the last saved transaction occurred. And so that should be visible on those workstations that we use offline mode on. I feel like, should I talk about this now or I'll probably mention it. Let's do it later. Okay. So we are logging in as either Cat1, Circ1, Circ2, Cat2. Remember, any library staff person can upload transactions, which is what we are going to do now. So I'm going to go ahead and log in as my local admin. because there is one thing we need to do after we have used offline circulation. Let me, is we need to create an offline session. The offline session is where we upload those transactions and then process all of those to load into the web client. So local admins and Circ1s are the only ones that can create a session. So we're going to go back into circulation and offline circulation. And then we can see here, because I am on the same workstation, that we are viewing all of those transactions that took place. Each item, each checkout is going to have its uh, own row. So if it looks like a lot more than what you did, like patrons and things like that, don't worry, it's for each row. So we need to go, we are in session management. We're going to move to offline sessions, and now we need to create our session. Description, it's probably important to just maybe 313 upgrade downtime or offline, something that is easily found. It should sort by date created, but click OK, continue. Here it is, and it's going to have that date created. In the past, we recommended putting the date in the description, but with this here, it might not be as necessary. So we have the session, we have those transactions, and now we are ready to upload. So I'm going to click as a local admin or Circ1, click as an anyone, and I'm going to confirm that real quick. I'm going to log in as let's see if my cat2 is, can't remember what permissions I've changed because it's into the tester account. So we're going to circulation, offline circulation. Okay, so we're going to go to offline sessions. This is the session that we created for this downtime. I'm going to click upload. So notice that we have 5 upload count. It refreshed automatically. And if we go back to pending transactions, it's empty because they are no longer pending. They have been uploaded. Now we just wait until all of the other workstations that we use during offline mode are uploaded. So this number will go up as as this progresses. You can either refresh here or click the refresh button right here. And then this is where the local admin or Circ1 use their permissions to process. So I'm going to log in as my local admin again. Go back to offline circulation, offline sessions. So we have this one, and now we're going to click process once. Has that little window that pops up for a second. Now this, after we click process, it does not refresh automatically. In order to see the progress of the transactions process, we will want to click refresh. And then we want to make sure that the upload count matches the transactions processed. And then it'll give us a day completed when it has finished. Now, if we were to select this, or once we select our session and then we have finished processing, we can scroll down to look at the exception list. This is where errors will appear. So for example, in this, this patron barcode, it looks correct, but we have this event named asset copy not found. This tells me that the item barcode that I entered for this item is incorrect. So maybe it has that extra number, or maybe it like missed the prefix or something, hopefully something easy. We will have to manually check this item out to the patron's account. We can access it by clicking patron right here. It'll open the account in a separate tab, and then we can check out that item once we find the correct barcode. If you find that the barcode for an item is you just have no idea what it is. You might just have to um, keep track of it, or you might like play around with it, see if you can figure it out. But that's why it's so important to make sure you are watching the screen when you check out, when you scan or enter the patron barcode and item barcode. All right. So I wanted to look at a few more exceptions. These are just a few examples of exceptions um, that might occur. I'm pressing the wrong button. So, asset actor card not found. This is when the barcode for the patron was misscanned or mistyped. Um, Open circulation exists. This means that the book was checked out that and it was never checked in. Um, and so these are just a few of possible exceptions that can occur. Um, there's also times that exceptions will not occur. So maybe you check out a DVD with the wrong date. So you set it at 14 days instead of 7. It's not going to tell you that you did that. It's not going to be wrong. It's going to manually override that basically that like circ modifier um, duration set. Overdue books are not flagged as exceptions. Um, Checking out an item belonging to another library does not cause an exception. And offline circulation does not recognize books on hold, so exceptions are not generated for that, as well as the max fines and item limits are ignored, and the circulations will be automatically forced. So just FYI about that. Um, an alternative to uploading and processing transactions, if you only have a few, this is probably more for smaller libraries. If you only have a few listed in your pending transactions, you might think about just putting them in manually. Um, and then once you have done that, you can click clear transactions and it'll just clear this screen. So that is an option if you choose to do so. Um, We recommend if an offline session is not uploaded immediately once the servers are available again, or once you open on Monday and it's up and running, um, we recommend that offline sessions are considered invalid after 72 hours. Um, Expired offline sessions may be deleted by clicking on the clear transactions in the pending uh, transactions interface. And then if there are special considerations, just submit a help desk ticket to evaluate the viability for uploading, see if the items are still in that status. This ties into those exceptions that do not appear. Um, Libraries may choose to set additional borrowing limits during downtime to minimize the risk of misentered data. You might choose to limit patrons to check out only 3 items per day during the downtime. It's completely a local decision. You'll, of course, that will be a local admin, local policy decision um, for that. Comment that it's so much easier to use a spreadsheet instead of writing everything down. It can be absolutely. Um, I think after a while we switched that because you can scan barcodes into a spreadsheet as well. Again, these are the known bugs. And then well, that is offline circulation. The things I wanted to talk to you about in addition to this now is, again, what came up in the admin interest group that happened just before this. I want to make sure I say these correctly, which I will try. So I mentioned earlier that offline mode or offline circulation depends on your web browser's cache. Some of the updates or a number of the updates coming into the upgrade. So some of the changes being made that we will be installing um, will not really work correctly until we perform a clear cache for Evergreen, for the entire web client, not just for a single page. Because of that, and because of the dependence that offline mode has to the cache, we recommend um, we recommend exporting those transactions as a backup because it's possible when you open the web client on Monday morning that the login will not appear. So make sure you export those transactions at the end of the day on Saturday or Sunday or Sunday. You'll want to do it for both days if you are open. And then clear the cache. And according to other consortium members, they recommend clearing the cache via settings. And I think I found the way to do that. So we're just gonna, so let's say the web client is not loading. So we're gonna go to the ellipses, go to settings, and now I can't remember. They said that there was a browser extension that could be used. Oh, here we go. Let's say we could probably, I think it's privacy and security. Don't write anything down yet until I can, let's see. Don't look at that. Um, so probably uncheck these. I think this is how we want to do it. Um, and so we'll just keep the cached images and files um, and make sure the time range is all time. And now this way, this will clear out the entire, like all of your website's cached images and files, which might be good to do time to time anyway. But I'm going to do that, make sure the cookies, because we want to keep the cookies, we want to get rid of the cache. So I'm going to delete data. It might take a minute depending on how large it is. Apparently this is going to take a while because I have almost 200 megs of data. Does anyone have any questions while we wait for this to finish? Okay, well, keep typing if you do. Okay, so it finished. So then we should be able to, my barcode scanner keeps trying to scan stuff. Um, Now, if we clear the cache before we upload or process those transactions, it is highly likely that that unprocessed message will disappear. So this is where those exported files come in handy. To do that, we are going to we need to log in. And go into offline circulation. And under pending transactions, we are going to click on import transactions. And so we will just do this for each of the files, and it's going to appear here. So then we can upload those to our offline session. Okay, it looks like the cache cleared the sessions. So you might want to wait to create your session until we are back online, um, in case you do have to clear the cache. Um, so if like as you go around the web client, you're able to log in and things just aren't loading correctly, you will probably need to perform that clear cache function. So probably it's a good idea to create that session after you have done so. But anyway, so we import those transactions and then we can go to offline and upload those and then they can be processed. I'm going to clear these because we've already done that. Yes, I went to clear. Um, I don't think there was a question about anything big that was mentioned in the first 2 minutes. No, I don't think there was. Um, at least I cannot remember. If you need to, the recording will be available by tomorrow late morning, so you can probably start it up again and just watch the first few minutes. That probably is going to be the thing I recommend the most. I think that is everything. Oh, um, while I'm here and while I have you, and people are going to watch this, they mentioned something about some of the columns that we normally have listed in our grid configuration in certain areas, like when we look at patron holds in their account. Some of them will be missing and they will need to be re-added because the headers, the names of those columns have changed. I think I might be able to just, I think Meg is up. So if we go into holds, let's see, well, title's still there. Um, but it's possible some things have changed, like barcode has changed to current item, though that may have happened in earlier versions of Evergreen, because to me that kind of seems familiar, but just a thing that popped in. Um, I'm looking at my list of notes from, yeah. So that's basically it, I think. So export transactions at the end of the day, uh, make sure you clear the cache if you are having trouble accessing the web client when it is back online. Do not log in until after you receive that email from Jeremy. He will email the listservs to tell you that it is back up and running. Even if you can access it before um, he has sent the email, do not log in until after he has told you to or told you that you can. Clear the cache, not the cookies in your browser. So thank you, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.